Are you struggling to close deals? Cold outreach is wasting the time of both the buyer and seller at every stage, especially when sellers are using shallow and outdated data. Your organization can overcome these challenges with technology that translates comprehensive, high-quality buyer data into real-time insights. These deeper insights empower sales reps and teams to adopt the habits of top performers, which leads to better outcomes, like more pipeline, higher win rates, and larger deals. We call this deep sales. And we've built the first deep sales platform with the next generation of LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Right now, you can try LinkedIn Sales Navigator and get a 60-day free trial at linkedin.com/trial. That's linkedin.com/trial for a 60-day free trial. Let LinkedIn Sales Navigator help you sell like a superstar today. Just go to linkedin.com/trial and get started.
Welcome to Criminality, the podcast we started because we love reality TV. We also love true crime, and we don't think it's a crime to love reality TV. Whew. Hey, Melissa.
Whew. Same girl, same.
Yep. One of those days.
Yeah. Well, I'm so glad that it's not a crime to love reality TV. I feel like I've been watching a lot lately. I just got through a Vanderpump's rewatch
cool.
almost entirely.
Wow.
I got to where the new people come in, and I just stopped watching.
That was recent enough that, like, you don't need to relive that.
Yeah.
That's cool. How do you feel now? Like, we're on the other side of Scandival. You just did a rewatch. Where does it leave you?
I forgot how good it really is.
Yeah.
Just from the beginning, just the Sheena of it all, the Rob and his TVs, and there's just so much. In one episode, 3 of them had cheated on their significant other in one episode.
Yeah.
And I just thought, this is really, like, will it ever get any better than this? I don't know.
It all really, when you think about it, was a big build-up to Scandival. I mean, this was all just prequel. Like,
it really
why
was.
are we so surprised?
I know. Except that he was not the one really involved in any cheating scandals. He was getting cheated on, like, big time by his best friend and girlfriend. Jackson
Kristen.
Kristen, yeah.
Yeah, true. But I guess, I mean, in general, like, this had to have a big crescendo. Like, this would be a big part of the story. If you think about it, it's so crazy to me how even on other shows with married people, like very married, older people and affairs, that it just didn't penetrate the same way. Like, like
Don't
Lisa and Lenny, I'm sorry, just happened. And
it may have, we don't know.
I couldn't think of a synonym fast enough. But like Lisa and Lenny in Miami was like pretty big and pretty shocking. And it was buzzy, but I felt like very much within the Bravo universe, not outside of. So it's so interesting. I've been watching a lot too. I watched Martha's Vineyard Summer House. Yeah, I finished the finale. So I don't know if people are watching that, but I would love to hear what people think. I thought it was really good. Big thoughts on it. But summer's actually the perfect segue into my story. If you're cool, I'll just start.
I'm not cool, but absolutely. Go ahead.
Fair enough. From one not cool person to another, let's just tell a story. I was thinking about summer. That's why I thought of it when I said summer house, and how we have no summer plans. And I know people might be already in summer mode. Memorial Day was like a month ago. But here in New York, my kid's last day of school was yesterday, June 22nd. Wild. Crazy, right? So summer is really just starting to sink in, and I have no plans. I'm not going on vacation. So I was thinking back to last summer and what an amazing summer it was. You might call it pivotal. And I want to know if you remember why it was so important to me, because you were part of it.
Rebekah, it's
52 weeks ago. I know, not fair. Okay, I'm going to give you a hint.
Okay,
so
please do.
I did something I'd never done before. I escaped the city for several weeks. Many of them were by myself. Like my kids came in and out, my husband came in and out. I went upstate, and I was excited to, go to farmers markets and cook every day and hike and stargaze. And I did all that, although less of the stargazing at night because, at your suggestion, I started watching a show called Married to Medicine. So stargazing soon turned into all-night binge watching, and I wouldn't want it any other way. Melissa,
Once you've seen one star, you've seen them all. Let's be
honestly,
honest.
who can name a constellation? But I'm going to tell you some names of some women that you're going to want to know more about. I think we've talked about Married to Medicine on the show, just inside conversation. We love it.
Yes, so good.
This is one of those shows you've given me that is truly like a gift. Like Sister Wives was
a punishment,
important,
be honest.
but it's a little bit of a punishment. Married to Medicine was truly a gift. I became so invested. And so I always knew I wanted to do a Married to Medicine story. And so I finally found my way into discussing the brains, the beauty, and the bombshells of this show, Married to Medicine. And surprisingly, the subject of it is Ms. Lisa Nicole Cloud. Probably maybe not the woman on that show you would think would be the center of a story.
Right.
But what comes to mind when I say Lisa Nicole?
I forgot she even had a last name because I only know her as Lisa Nicole.
Lisa Nicole.
So every time you say Cloud, I'm like, what? What's
Who?
happening?
Yeah.
Who's this person? I think of her husband, who is a giant cheater bag, and I really liked her in the beginning. I thought I was going to really enjoy her, and very quickly my opinion changed, and I was not a fan. So is that
not a fan? That's
what
great.
you-
That's
okay.
great. I'm gonna co-sign that entirely. I didn't like her in the beginning. She always came off a little phony to me, but I'm gonna speak more about that in a minute. I just wanted to hear your initial impression. Very accurate. And before I delve into Lisa Nicole's story, I want to give a little framework to the whole show because I bet our audience is probably split of who's watched and who hasn't.
Yeah.
And like my episode on Real Housewives of Miami, there's no hiding. My agenda is that people will go watch if they
Listen.
haven't.
You got me. Miami is your Married to Medicine. So if there's anything
we
to
go.
learn
That's
from
right.
both of us, we both have very good taste and we'll bully you into anything we need to.
100%. Gentle bullying.
Gentle bullying.
Persuasive, convincing. Peer pressure is what we decided that's what that's called. Friendly peer pressure. So Married to Medicine premiered on Bravo in 2013. It centers around the lives of women who are all either doctors in their own right or the wives of doctors and their connection to one another and the medical community of Atlanta. Also, lots of Housewives of Atlanta guesses on Instagram
Yes.
for my clues. So you guys were very close, literally, geographically, but housewife adjacent for sure,
Yeah.
this show. I would say this show is a bigger emphasis on career and marriage than the Housewives show. Like that was sort of what sets it apart in my mind. So here's a quick cast breakdown. Now, the cast has varied from season to season, but there are some main players that are through lines throughout the season. So I'm going to focus primarily on the people that I list. Actually, I'm only going to focus primarily on 2 women, but I want to give you a picture of who the show's main protagonists are. And Lisa Nicole came in season 2. So this is pretty much from like season 2
Right.
onward. We had Dr. Jackie. We love.
Adore.
Also, feel free to chime in with any of the women I'm talking about. If you have like some feelings or gut reactions,
Okay.
I would love to
I mean,
hear them.
adore. That's it. There's just nobody
Adore.
like her.
She's elegant. She's an OBGYN. She's smart. She's beautiful. She's the voice of reason. She is the grounding presence of the show. She also is the star of a cameo you sent me when I was
Oh, yeah.
doing some medical stuff and I needed a little encouragement. It was actually like, I think we talked about that on the podcast. Her cameo brought me to tears. I mean, it was the most heartfelt, sincere.
Right.
First of all, great idea that you had. And then she just knocked it out of the park. And she's a
Yeah.
doctor. And it was like, it meant a
It
lot.
healed you, I think.
Absolutely.
Not
It
too
turned
far.
out that everything was fine. And I think it was the cameo. So I don't know what she charges, but money well spent. I feel great about that. In fact, I should pay you back. Then we have Dr. Simone, who's really Jackie's BFF. Like they're all friends, but those
Yeah.
two are tight, right? So Dr. Simone is also an OBGYN, more high energy than Jackie.
Yeah.
Really cute, spunky, but she can get sassy. She just doesn't filter herself. She doesn't edit
Right.
herself. And Dr. Simone definitely doesn't mind stirring drama up among
Yeah.
the ladies. Then there's Toya, who's married to Eugene, who is an ER doctor. So Toya is not a doctor. She's a stay-at-home mom. I think she's a little bit younger than the other women, and she's very kind of obsessed with image, keeping up with the Joneses. That got them into some trouble. They've had mortgage and tax issues, I think, because of their spending. Yeah, she's always wanting a bigger, better house. She definitely gets messy, but I really like Toya.
Me too.
She's super fun.
I do too. And I love her husband too. I love them
do
together.
too. I love
It's
Toya
great.
and Eugene. They're really cute. Cute family. All of them, honestly, these are great families.
Yeah.
Then we have Quad, who's married to Gregory, a psychiatrist. Quad is the main, well, maybe secondary source of drama tied with Mariah. We'll get to her. She makes great TV. Say what you will about her. This woman was born to be on a reality show. And we're going to hear, literally, you guys will hear a little bit of her voice on this episode, and you'll be better for it. She's an entrepreneur, and she loves her puppies more than anything. She doesn't know she wants kids.
Oh, yeah.
She really was into spoiling her puppies. Do you remember that? That's like her.
There's like a fashion line or something.
Oh, yeah. We're going to talk about it. Then there's Mariah, who I mentioned. Mariah's a little intimidating. She's very intense. And her husband, Ethan, is an ER doctor, and she's actually an executive producer on the show. She concepted the whole show. This was women that she pulled together, kind of curated this group. Her great idea for a TV show she spent years pitching. And despite being the creator and executive producer, it has not prevented her from getting fired multiple times and then coming back on because of her crazy on-screen antics. Like, she gets physical. I think her fight was the first physical altercation. There would be many, but remember the pool one? That feels like that was pretty early on.
That's what I was trying to remember. Was that her and Toya?
That was her and Toya.
Okay,
yeah, and her mom scares me.
I don't like her mom at all.
Her mom scares me. I can't remember her name.
I don't like her husband either.
No, I don't like her husband either. And I'm not sure how I don't love Quad's husband either.
Oh, I don't like him.
His name is
Dr.
Gregory. Yeah, I don't like him either. He's a little smug. Then we have someone named Dr. Heavenly, and that is her first name, just so we're clear. She's a dentist, so she's different, set apart because she's a dentist, and sometimes there's a little classism in their group. And she is not a doctor, she is a dentist, but she will tell you that is very legitimate. Her husband is also a doctor, maybe also ear medicine. I'm not positive. His name is Damon. And she is another pot stirrer, and also a blessing to reality TV. Her voice is very high. Can you do a Dr. Heavenly?
No, absolutely not. But I just want to say, Daddy. That's what she calls him all the time.
Yeah. Damon is Daddy.
Yeah.
And she has a daughter named Alora. And she'll be like, Alora, what are you doing? And it's very high.
Very high.
I think it sounds exhausting, but maybe it's just how she speaks.
She's adorable, though. I like.
She really.
She's another one.
Really
She's
is.
a quad in the sense that I like. How did you ever live without being on our TVs?
Right.
Like, how did we live?
How have the cameras not found you sooner? Yeah.
Right.
And last but not least, actually kind of least, Lisa Nicole. Yeah. I mean, before I get into who she is, I think this confessional with Quad sets it up and says it better than I could. If you could play that first clip.
Just because Lisa Nicole is boring doesn't mean that her background is.
Dang,
Right?
Quad. Yeah.
I know. So there's a little foreshadowing in there. Put a pin in that for now. But yeah, she's boring, but her background isn't, and hopefully the story isn't. So let's start. Lisa Nicole, as I mentioned, not a doctor, married to Darren Noggles, who is. But just because she isn't a doctor, Melissa, doesn't mean she doesn't work. In fact, she works a lot. And some might say she works too much and does too much and doesn't know when to stay in her lane. And this just might be part of her problem. So I think the way people would really grasp who she is to say that she could be your friend on Facebook who starts a post with, "Hey mamas," or calling all future millionaires. That's because she is an MLM success story. And she even calls herself, you know how we feel about self-appointed nicknames, the Millionaire Maker, because she's helped other people achieve a millionaire status like she did. Melissa, how many people has Lisa Nicole Millionaire Maker Cloud made millionaires?
1? I just cannot imagine it's more than that.
5. So it's single digits. But yeah, so 5 was enough for her to give herself that title. So let's talk a little bit about the company where Lisa Nicole achieved this status. Now, this happened before we meet her on the show. It's a company called 5 Links. LINX. It's boring. It's a company that offers various products, services through a network of independent sales reps. The company was founded in 2001 and it's based here in the United States. They sell telecommunication services like phone plans, internet services, wireless devices, but also energy services for your home security systems, and because what MLM is complete without them, nutritional supplements. So stupid. It's just one of these companies with so much stuff that nobody needs to get through an MLM company.
That's so many things and such a variety of things that, like, I don't trust you. I don't want you doing my home monitoring and also giving me like probiotics. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Exactly. You should not have expertise or opinions on both of those and selling. No, it makes no sense. So the company operates just like most multi-level marketing companies. They're sold through the reps who make a commission on sales, and they're encouraged to have other reps sign up under them so that they get commission on those sales. The more reps you have, the more money you make. In fact, and this is the big tricky area with MLMs, is most reps make most of their money from their downline's commission than from their own actual sales that they make. And this is where you can get into legal trouble because that's actually illegal. That's more like a pyramid scheme. So the laws vary from state to state, but MLMs are legal and regulated, but it's a very fine line. And I just want to say, I know that some people do work with accredited and regulated and above board multi-level marketing companies, and they do well. And, you know, no disrespect to them, but there's certainly some companies that are predatory. But statistically, it's very difficult to make a ton of money at this. It is not designed for everyone who signs up to make a lot of money. So that's more the bigger point. And so they've come under scrutiny in recent years. So Lisa joins this company, and you can't take this away from her. She's very successful. She must be really good at sales. She becomes a top earner at 5 Links, and it's still listed on her resume on LinkedIn. So I wanted to see if this company was still in existence, if it was legit or shady or not. And a quick search didn't take long to show me that it is basically a complete fraud and sham. Here's the highlight reel. In 2014, there was a federal investigation by the FTC initiated for alleged deceptive marketing practices and potential pyramid scheme activities. This investigation lasted 2 years. The company decided to reach a settlement in 2016 to resolve it. As part of it, they had to pay a significant monetary judgment, it was not disclosed, and change its business practices. So that reeks of guilt to me if they paid money and didn't want to go into any kind of trial over this. So the company had to restructure its compensation plan to focus more on retail sales rather than recruitment, right? Which goes to what we were talking about earlier. So then in 2017, I guess this really wasn't good for the bottom line of the company because it filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. So it starts playing by the rules and then suddenly they're making no money. The company cited the financial burden of the FTC settlement as one of the reasons for the bankruptcy filing, but most people think it was reorganized in a way that wasn't financially lucrative anymore. But the kicker is that after the bankruptcy, the co-founders were indicted on multiple fraud charges, including wire fraud and money laundering. The trio admitted to defrauding $2.3 million from investors, illegally depositing company revenues into personal accounts, and failing to pay thousands of dollars in taxes. All 3 went to prison. 2 of them got a 14-month prison term and 1 got 7 months. So that's who 5 Links is. And this is the company that Lisa Nicole will still really proudly talk about, you know, earning her millionaire status through. So bizarre. Yeah. So what she did though, and again, I hate to admit it, but in doing this story, I think I've learned she might have some business savvy. So she took that money and she wanted to make more money. So 5 Links is the company that Lisa Nicole continues to brag about how she earned millionaire status. And when the company was in its heyday, Lisa Nicole would run seminars on how to achieve the level of success she's earned and charge people money to come to her seminars. Then she would invite them to sign up under her, which cost money. Then once they're signed up, they had to buy the products.
Right.
So she was making money like 3 times over on these people who are watching her. And that aggravates me.
It really does, because you know that she's done this long enough to know that everyone that comes through is not going to do as well as her. And some people it's going to bankrupt. And she goes into it selling this dream that you could be one of the ones. But like, I remember when I tried my brief hand into Mary Kay, the girl that I knew that got me to sign up was like, anyone's a salesperson. And I really believed her until I realized I don't like people. I don't like talking to them. And I'm not going to want to sell them anything. Like, that's
right.
Very
and the ones
obvious.
I do like, I don't want to ruin that relationship by always making it transactional. No, I know. I think
100%.
a lot of people have that, confront that same reality. Also, I think she's smart in that she knows, like you said, not everyone that comes is going to be that millionaire, but it's a numbers game. So why not earn money on every person that sits in the chair in the room? Then it's not a complete loss for her. It's disgusting, but it is business savvy. I'll give her that, but it's really gross. I will say, though, if you had signed up to hear Lisa Nicole speak at one of these events, you would have gotten to hear gems of wisdom and truly just out of the box business advice that you could not access anywhere else. If you could just take a listen to clip 2, TED Talk, Schmed Talk, this is the real deal.
So here's how it's going to happen. First of all, the thing you have to realize is that a journey of 1,000 miles just begins by taking the first step. Inch by inch, it's a cinch. But yard by yard, it looks really hard.
No, I was not expecting that to rhyme, and I hated it even more when we got through with it. But what is it? What is the website? Getofftheratwheel.com or something? That's like in the corner.
Yeah. At the beginning of the video is like, get off the rat wheel. It's like this, stop being in the rat wheel, get in the millionaire mindset.
Yeah. I don't get pepped up by that at all. It just irritates me.
That is a 50-minute video, by the way. And the entire thing, I couldn't get through all of it, but it's all just nonsense like that.
Inch by inch is a cinch.
Yards and yards. That seems hard, or whatever she said. It's too hard.
Oh, that was rough.
Well, yeah, it was. Lisa's entrepreneurial efforts didn't die with 5 links. She took her money and she invested in a fashion line. And it's here that her innovation and creativity really got to shine, because it's called, wait for it, the Lisa Nicole Collection. That's why you didn't know her last name, because it's all about the Lisa Nicole Collection on the show, right? But lest you think this fashion line is just a vanity project like Kyle by Eileen 2 in Beverly Hills, the Lisa Nicole Collection is a multifaceted 3-part brand, including the Lisa Nicole Collection, the Lisa Nicole Diamond Collection, and the Lisa Nicole Signature Collection. I know.
Is this like the difference between Ann Taylor and Ann Taylor Loft? I don't really understand.
There's tiers. I think so.
Of Lisa Nicole?
I know. Also, if you were born in the 70s or 80s and you're listening, there's a 50% chance your name is Lisa Nicole, which is great. Yeah, true. Welcome. Or Lisa Marie. I know Lisa Marie's. But I don't know if maybe she wanted to use it because it will be familiar to people. It just felt like a really boring, lazy name.
Yeah, for a company, no, I don't think it's mean. If you called something Melissa, I'd be like, that's actually very boring. And why would you do that? Yeah, but Lisa Nicole, I don't know. It's just that she's boring, I think. And so
that's what it is.
It feels boring.
Also, for people who haven't watched, spoiler alert, she dresses terrible.
Yeah. And when you said diamonds, that just about blew my mind.
Of the whole cast, she dresses the worst. Her goal was to design high fashion statement pieces for today's professional woman. Lisa's classy, timeless designs make a statement of elegance, power, and sophistication. Now, I hope you're sitting down. Melissa, I know you are. I was shocked to find out this business still exists and that she shows at New York Fashion Week. Can you just pay to participate? Because this makes no sense.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd rather wear one of Leanne Locken's 300 ways to wear a dress than
I would too.
Than Lisa Nicole.
I would too. And it's this business, her collection, that we really see front and center when she joins the cast of Married to Medicine in season 2. We're often seeing her in her showroom. She's always planning events. And she takes pride in being kind of like the fashion business one of the group. Let's take a minute to hear a quick word from this sponsor, which we promise is a great business. So now's a good time to paint a picture of Lisa Nicole's role on Married to Medicine. In my opinion, when we started this conversation earlier, when I got your first impression, I think she made a rookie mistake, which was coming on with an agenda of how she wanted to be perceived.
Right.
And this can go either way. Like sometimes but in her case, she was too in her head. She wanted to be seen in this specific light: successful career and businesswoman, motivational speaker, and advocate for women's empowerment. She uses those words all the time. And so I think she thought, let me show these women like the better way, the high road. When they go high,
right?
Nope. When they get high, nope.
Opposite.
When they go low,
nope.
You know what I'm saying?
But
I think she really.
Too, you could do that too. But also, I was going to say, isn't that how we met her? Giving one of these like women empowerment. Isn't that the way we met her? I feel like that was it. Okay. Yeah, very phony baloney.
Yes.
But like I thought, oh wow, this
Total
person's doing like
baloney.
a legitimate thing. And I totally got brought into it. And then as soon as I heard her talking, I was like, oh, this is terrible.
Yeah, it's very want. Women's Empowerment Network is her group, and it's a philanthropy women's empowerment thing. And it's very meaningless and fluffy.
Can't name
and there's
anything.
no, it's all and there's a TM after it too, by the way. So the problem is that when you lead with that agenda, you can come across very superficial. And I think that's really what happened. She did not seem genuine. She did not seem real. And that's, people don't resonate with that. The people you're on the show with won't, and the people watching won't. She actually, unfortunately will get, usually when people do this, they get exposed as a fraud. And that's basically what happened to Lisa Nicole.
Yeah.
The other problem is that she was up against very dynamic women with tons of personality. Whether you like them or not, like we said, they were incredible to watch. And every single one of them, in contrast to Lisa, just seemed more multidimensional, authentic,
right,
and enjoyable, honestly, to be around. She just didn't have that. And like you said, her husband was a problem. And he was a known cheater, and everybody knew it, and there was proof. And the way she defended him didn't help her case. Now, look, that's her prerogative. It's her marriage. But where I think she really did herself a disservice was the scenes with her husband and her, was her saying, could you please stop doing this? You're embarrassing me.
Right.
And it was more like a concern about how they were coming across than any actual words about his behavior.
Right. Oh, yeah. Well, that on top of when she comes in and is like women's empowerment and this is how you become as successful as me. But you realize like those people, it's always like, oh, they're hiding a whole lot. Like it almost is like a red flag for people to look in your life when you have to. It's like what I saw something that was like the more words in your Instagram anniversary post, the more on the rocks your marriage is. Yeah.
We know that your marriage is in trouble. Absolutely.
It's true. It's like if you have to say it that much.
It is true.
So anyway,
she personifies that.
That's kind of what I got from her. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And the next thing I wrote was that she speaks in cliches and platitudes. And when you're using those words, like you don't really know what or mean what you're saying, because you can't, because no one talks like that. So her social media is full of meaningless quotes like, success happens by choice, not chance. And really annoying hashtags like, your health is your wealth. So it's for this reason and many others that she really just doesn't click with the rest of the cast. I think she's had a major fight with every cast member on the show, but there is one that stands out that will go down as one of the best/worst, depending on how you feel about it, in Married to Medicine history. Before we talk about the fight, I do want to say another thing and ask you something about Darren, her husband. Like, where would we rank him as one of the worst? Like, he's top 5, right? He's winsome less.
Probably is. The bottom 5 has so many people in it. I think it's got to be like a bottom 20 at this point because they're just all terrible. There's so many terrible ones.
Yeah. If you've watched, you dislike him from the jump, and that's before we even find out he's a serial cheater. And this is sometimes a Real Housewives trope, but on Married to Medicine, I feel like it hits a little different because the show centers not only on a girls' trip every season, but a couples trip. So they really focus and prioritize protecting their marriages and trying to, as friends, build each other's marriages up. So I do think the infidelity conversation is important in the show because of how they view marriage and how it's part of the show. The men are part of the show and they go on this big couples trip every season. So that's like,
it's like couples therapy. It's beyond
it's like couples
trip.
therapy.
Yeah.
It is. No, they do like intentional exercises to deepen and strengthen marriages. So it's very different from Housewives in that way. But that doesn't mean it doesn't get messy and that they're still susceptible to reality TV temptations like name calling and accusing one another's husbands of being gay when things get heated, which happens all the time to Darren. So that's frustrating to me because it's used as an insult when I don't even think in their right mind in a rational moment any of them would think being gay or, is an insult, but it's because it's cheating and gay that it's, it's more dramatic. So they throw it out during
They use it as leverage.
It's annoying.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Right. So during season 3, Lisa Nicole and Quad decide to team up for a fashion event. Quad is a couture doggy line, which we talked about her love of puppies. It's called Picture Perfect Pup. And Lisa Nicole, of course, has this couture, quote unquote, fashion line. So in preparation for this event, Lisa Nicole decides to do a preliminary background check on Quad. And she says she told Quad this in advance. She's like, this is protocol for my business. I do this before I go into partnerships with people, just to make sure there's no major red flags, which actually sounds reasonable. But she's on a reality show, and Quad is many things, but rational and reasonable is not usually among them. So Quad decides to do a background check, but hers is less of a pay online to do a basic fact check and see if there's any financial or legal red flags, and more of a hire a guy named Walter and set up a rendezvous on camera with said PI named Walter that sounds a little something like this.
Hi, Qua.
Got a little something for me?
I've got some interesting stuff for you.
Let's see. The fact that Lisa Nicole conducted a background investigation behind my back tells me she did it with malicious intent. Keep my good eyes out for this one. I'm not doing this because I want to give her a taste of her own medicine. And I just want to let her know you're not going to try to hold something over my head, and that's not cool. Wow. Really?
Yes.
I always like to level the playing field. Not the woman of empowerment, not the inspirational woman. Why would she open a can of worms with me?
That I can't understand.
Not with this background. Walter is damn good, honey. How dirty is Lisa Nicole's background? It's filthy.
Question, is Bo Dietl just the new Walter?
Oh my gosh. I feel like Walter didn't get enough traction as Bo Dietl. That's too bad because he did good work.
He did great work, yeah.
Yeah. Not the woman of empowerment. That was my favorite. So now the women are both armed with their respective background checks. And mind you, Lisa Nicole presumably didn't find anything because she was open to collaborating. So Quad kind of did this for nothing, but that's neither here nor there. So they meet up at a lunch, and it's as dramatic as the meetup with Walter. I mean, listeners, you could hear that exchange of information, but they both drove up in cars in a suburban strip mall at night. It's like a tile store behind them. There's a passing of an envelope through windows. Very dramatic. So now that Quad and Lisa Nicole are at this lunch, they're both wearing black. They sit down at this outdoor restaurant and they cordially, do the niceties, the fakeness.
Right.
But soon the matter of the background checks comes up because that's what they're both there for. And as they say, chaos ensues. This is very clip heavy, the front half of the story. So I'm going to play the lead up to the fight because the fight itself is just a lot of vulgarities and it'll just be a long bleep. But here's the moment leading up to before things got physical.
Get to the point.
Well, if you stop cutting me off, I will.
I'm just waiting to hear.
Shut your mouth.
No. Oh, do not tell me to shut my mouth.
Here's the deal. I learned that you have a battery charge. Close your mouth. You little liar. Close your mouth. You have beat up Darren, and you have gotten arrested in Forsyth. You have gotten arrested in Forsyth County. This is between you and I. Darren didn't get a background check on me. You have. On the night of March 19, 2007, Lisa Nicole was arrested on battery charges. And her victim was Darren Noggles.
Quad, just her delivery of everything is so good. Just
Priceless.
The way, the evening of March, whatever, she's just so good.
Well, that's what I wrote. I'm like, and once again, Quad said it better than I could. And her victim was Darren Noggles. Like, just her husband's name. Like, it's just so good.
So good.
So, as far as what she delivered, it was factual. In March of 2007, Lisa Nicole did physically assault her husband, Darren Noggles, but it was dismissed because, like often happens in these intimate partner relationships, one person can decide not to press charges or the alleged victim can. And in this case, Darren did that. He decided not to press charges, but police were called in. However, it was expunged from her record. So that was not a great moment for the woman of empowerment, right? So this fight quickly escalated into a physical altercation. Lisa threw 2 glasses of water in Quad's face, and you think at first it's just water, but you realize the glass actually hits Quad's face and shatters. And before that scene ends, you do see a cut on her face with a little bit of blood.
Mm-hmm.
Now, she makes sure, do you remember the confessional?
This big.
She has a Band-Aid the size of a baseball glove on her face for a cut that is absolutely the size of like a nick from shaving, but that's just who Quad is, and I stand by it. So she said she would press charges against Lisa, but there is no evidence that she ever did, which I find surprising because I would think Quad would be all too happy to sue or press charges.
I just think it had to be like production getting in the middle and saying, you're welcome to, do charges, but we're going to have to keep you guys off of, you guys aren't going to be able to film together. Something like that, where it's like, it hurts Quad's bottom line, because otherwise, I think she would go for it.
I think she would have. I think that's right. That's probably the only thing that would have stopped her. So Lisa was on for one more season after this, and she said it was a self-appointed departure, not a firing, because she wanted to focus on her marriage and her businesses. And she did focus on both. But unfortunately, her troubles were not over in either department. 2017, leaked audio came out. Did you hear this?
No, I have no idea what comes next.
So we can't play the clip because it's proprietary. And so there's this voiceover thing. But it's a leaked audio of Lisa Nicole calling, presumably, allegedly, a woman her husband's been messing around with or cheating with, and her dictating to Darren what she wants him to say to her. And it is vulgar. I mean, terrible name calling. Tell her you're married, and then a series of names. It's dark and disturbing.
Yeah.
Worst of all, at the very end, you can hear her say, "Do you see that, kids?" And she starts talking about daddy and what daddy's doing. So their kids are witness to this exchange with a mistress, allegedly, on the phone with Lisa screaming to Darren to tell this B and this other words that you're married and that, she can't call anymore. It's disturbing.
It's wild. And especially when you get to the kid part, because you're already like, this is way unhinged. And then you hear her saying to the kids and you think, oh my gosh, like, whatever you decide to do with this man, fine, but don't drag your kids into this. And especially if you're going to stay with him, don't. This is just like, I don't know how you look at your dad. I mean, you'd look at your dad differently, I'm sure.
I know.
I don't know. That was just too much.
I'm sure she was caught up in the moment, but that was a terrible move. And the whole thing is just really sad. And whatever rumor or innuendo about him cheating we had during the show, I mean, this obviously confirms, and we know this wasn't the only time. So I think she just completely lost her cool. But regardless of this leaked audio, Lisa Nicole did rejoin the cast of Married to Medicine as a friend of in season 8. And I don't have anything to back this up, but my gut tells me she thought this would be her redemption season.
Right.
And it backfired. Right. When you leave and come back, you've got high hopes. It backfired in kind of the worst way, because season 8 aired in 2021, shot even earlier. So probably end of 2020, who knows, but it was peak pandemic. We know this. The country and the world are being ravaged by the virus. And there was this sense of confusion. I mean, you remember it. I remember it.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't know. I mean, in New York, it was like you getting tests was
imagine.
like a golden ticket in Willy Wonka. Like nobody could get tests, let alone, I mean, vaccines weren't quite on the horizon yet. It was madness. So You know, Lisa Nicole being a reality TV star with a fashion brand and a background in motivational speaking did the obvious thing and said, I'm going to buy a laboratory and offer COVID-19 testing and, you know, also do some like aesthetic stuff later on because, you know.
Pivot. You can pivot after.
Yeah.
Have you ever had that moment when you're leaving the house and you wonder, did I lock the door? Or worse yet, you start spiraling and you imagine all the what ifs. I used to feel that way all the time, but it wasn't until a few years ago when I heard about a break-in just a few blocks away that I realized I needed to really step up my home security game. And now I can spiral about the what ifs on things that don't matter, like reality stars, instead of the what ifs of home security. We've had Simply Safe protecting our house for the last few years now, and it's a total game changer. With Simply Safe's Fast Protect monitoring, I know within 5 seconds if something's actually up, and the lifeguards can actually speak to intruders to stop them. That's faster than a reality TV star can throw a drink. One of the things I really love the most is you're not locked into some over-the-top 90-day fiancé level contract drama. Simply Safe is actually affordable as well, less than $1 a day with no hidden fees, so it's easy to love. It's no wonder they've been named Best Home Security Systems by U.S. News and World Report for 5 years running. Whether you want to install it yourself, it really takes less than an hour, or have a professional handle it, Simply Safe is as easy as flipping channels between Chimp Crazy and The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. So why wait for the drama to happen? Get Simply Safe and know your home is covered just like I did. Protect your home with 50% off a new Simply Safe system, plus a free indoor security camera when you sign up for Fast Protect monitoring. Just visit simplysafe.com/criminality. That's simplysafe.com/criminality. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Okay, it's time to commit. 2024 is the year for prioritizing yourself. Begin your new smile journey with Byte, and you could start seeing results in just 2 to 3 weeks. Just order your at-home impression kit today for only $14.95 at Byte.com. Byte Clear aligners are doctor-directed and delivered to your door. Treatment costs thousands less than braces. Plus, they offer financing options, accept eligible insurance, and you can pay with your HSA FSA. Get 80% off your impression kit when you use code WONDERY at Byte.com. That's BYTE.com. Start your confidence journey today with Byte.
A purpose. I find the purchase of a lab in March of 2020 really suspicious. I think that is, I'm just going to say, I think that's disgusting. I think it was a money grab.
Yeah. She bought it in March of 2020?
Yeah, it's either March or April, but the pandemic had started. So she bought the lab. Now her husband's a doctor. And if you remember season 8, a lot of the families, a lot of the couples were doing like volunteer community
That's another
tests.
thing I love about that show. Yeah.
Yes, they do service projects. And during COVID, they were part of the doctors doing the routine, the nasal swabs in like these drive-through vaccine sites, or excuse me, testing sites. So instead of them doing that, they buy a lab to be the facility where they run the tests. And I don't know, it doesn't seem community minded to me. It seems like a financial thing. But anyway, there's no website for her lab, which is called MAJL. I can't find anywhere that says what that is an acronym for, but you know it is. Probably her kids' names or something. But it's in tandem with Elite Medical Associates, which is her husband's practice. It's like a med spa that she runs and owns and operates, but he's the doctor in. So it's like COVID testing will be one of the menu items at this place. So unsurprisingly, the virus spikes in the Atlanta area and they're, testing hundreds of patients, probably maybe a day, but definitely a week. And they are not getting their results back fast enough. They don't have the equipment in-house to run the tests. They send it to a third-party lab, which apparently is common. I read enough where people were like, that's actually not uncommon practice.
Right.
But again, it just feels so short-sighted at a time like that when it was so needed to do something where you couldn't even do it faster, better, cheaper, more effectively. It's like, why? So they sent them out, and not surprisingly, the volume of tests was so vast that these labs were taking so long. Now, I don't remember ever waiting longer than like 2 days for a test result, even in New York when it was pretty bad. Her patients And the reason this got flagged and was investigated by the Attorney General was because people were waiting months. So they got tested in April and May, and by October, they had no results. Lisa blames it entirely on everybody else. The third-party lab was overrun. They didn't have enough doctors. They didn't have enough equipment. And probably a lot of this is true. It's just like, but why did you do this? Why did you think this was the best way for you to help your community during COVID? I don't understand it. I do think I don't know this, but my guess is a lot of labs probably experienced this delay.
That's wild, though.
Hers was investigated because there was a TV star attached to it. That's my guess. Mm-hmm. But it plays out on the show. There is a scene, I don't know if you remember it, where Dr. Simone and her husband Cecil are watching the news, and it's like, this woman owns and operates MAJL Diagnostics. And there's Lisa Nicole, like, in her little ugly business dress, all like, power posing. And they're like, but they don't have any results. So there was no formal investigation, according to Lisa. The articles I read said there was a probe and like a preliminary investigation. So I don't think there were any charges pressed. I didn't read anything after this initial headline.
Right.
And I think it was much bigger local news than it was national because the world was like burning and fire. It wasn't, the biggest headline. But to me, it just really revealed, I think, what she and her husband are about. And the purchase of this laboratory was like, well, eventually it'll just be like a Medispa, but for right now we could run these COVID tests. And maybe her heart was in the right place and she thought that was the most helpful thing. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't come across that way to me, especially having not looked into the fact that a third-party lab would take longer and likely experience delays. Am I being too harsh?
No, but months is what I mean.
Months, 6 months.
There's no reason to even test it. So then it is you're getting paid to test something that the results don't even matter at that point.
Exactly. That was one of the criticisms too. Was these took so long that they're moot, like they mean nothing. Mm-hmm. And one of the women, I can't remember which cast member, said it in her confessional, but so where do you want to give them their results to? Where do you want to send their results? The grave? I mean, dark joke, but like for real, this isn't a joke. It's it was really serious. And again, perhaps not technically her fault, but I think it showed poor judgment, if nothing else.
Yeah, I believe that. And it seems like their relationship, hers and her husband's, is very maybe transactional. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's like she's good to be with him. It helps him and it helps her. Like they're beneficial to each other, but like
that's right.
Probably shouldn't be married.
That's
so yeah, I can see how they kind of one would go along with it for the other one, but I don't know.
Well, if you're wondering, has Lisa Nicole learned her lesson, not partnering with scammy multi-level marketing pyramid schemes, not buying labs, not promoting, misinformation? I have the answer, unfortunately. I looked on her Instagram to see what she's up to, and her posts as of just this week are all endorsements for a power juice called Alive. And I'm going to close by reading her Instagram post about this product, which sounds honestly like it could have been written in the early 2000s. She's now part of a bigger company called Envision U, capital N, little vision, capital U. And under Envision U, Alive is one of their juices. Your health is your wealth, Melissa. You guys know I'm very critical of any oral products, but I must share this juice product with you. I feel so, all caps, alive. How many times have you been presented with a ground floor opportunity to change your life? An opportunity to improve your health and grow your wealth. I am so happy, so grateful for the Alive Superfood Juice. It's delicious and changing my life daily. It's helping me have amazing energy, improved mood, improvement with cramps and perimenopausal symptoms, and I'm losing weight. I'm blown away by the benefits of this juice. Inbox me or DM me for more details and to sample this all-natural superfood juice. You will heart the taste and the way it makes you feel. This juice is changing my life. #alive. #I feel so alive. #NVU. #EnvisionYou.
I can't with any of that.
How is she writing a post like this in 2023?
You know what it sounds like? It sounds like when somebody writes something for Ramona and she posts it, but she forgets to like insert the words that they tell her, like just add your
personalize.
name here. That's what it feels like. But if I'm going to buy juices, I'm only buying it from Christine or Janelle from
100%.
Sister Wives. Yeah, that's it.
100%.
Otherwise, I'm not buying it from anyone else. Sorry, Lisa
Who's
Nicole.
still looking at these juices like these life-saving miracle juices? Like they don't exist. Also, do you know what that sounds like? That post, like one of those bot comments that comes in randomly on another Instagram post. It's like, I made $25,000 after my life was over by drinking this juice.
Yeah,
it also
inbox
sounds
me.
like that.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
speaking
perfect.
of inbox me, I did inbox her. I was hoping she would have responded by the time of this recording. I actually said, hey, I'm actually more interested in 5 links. Looks like they've been taken over now and are called Epic. Do you still recommend this company? She hasn't written back. I don't even know if she's seen it. So stay tuned. I can just feel an episode update coming on this one. It's like practically writing itself. So we'll have to wait and see. But I hope this didn't deter anyone from watching. I hope the quad moments made you more, curious and piqued your interest, because Married to Medicine it's like
the best.
Southern Charm New Orleans. It's the best Bravo show no one's talking about.
Yes, absolutely. No, it's so good. And Lisa Nicole is such a small part of it, really.
Yeah,
in
she
the
really
whole-
is.
She's like a blip in the entire
She's
thing.
a complete blip. Yep, that's right.
Her name, she should call herself, her next company should be called Blip. I would get them on the ground floor with Blip.
Honestly, it would be the first honest business she started.
Yeah, I didn't know any of that. I had no idea about the lab thing. So season 8 of Married to Medicine, I think because it was going through all the COVID stuff, it was just kind of hard. Anything that brings me back to 2020, I'm like,
soon. Yeah.
I don't
No,
wanna
there was a
watch it.
point I
So I kind of
understand.
skipped around. I watched kind of parts of it. So I didn't realize any of that. That's wild. And I just, once somebody's done one of those MLMs though, I feel like that's it. You just do that over and over and over again. And it's exhausting.
It's so exhausting, and it tarnishes your reputation. Like, how can you trust anything when,
If
the
everything
next
is the best.
thing, right, is the ground floor opportunity. This is like her 3rd or 4th ground floor opportunity. So, I don't know, it takes the urgency away from me. So glad that's over. I know you've been watching a lot. I want to know what.
Okay, I've been watching a few things. First of all, if you're wondering how I'm doing this week, I watched Grey Gardens 2 times in a row. Rebekah, in the same day, I watched Grey Gardens twice.
That's very worrisome. And I have to look into like a New York to Florida wellness check. I had to Google Grey Gardens to make sure you were talking about what I thought you were talking about, but figured couldn't be what she's talking about. That's an old black and white
76.
documentary.
Yeah, I love
said,
it.
there's no way you're watching that, but you did twice.
Twice in a
That's
row.
scary.
And like, and then was Googling more facts about it after. Like, that's how unhinged I've been this week.
Okay.
I'm not well. Okay, but I'm going to give you clues of something fun I've been watching because that should do better. This is fun. Actually, this is a fun watch. All right. Netflix. Let's say 80s to 90s.
Okay.
And it originally aired, what this is about, aired on USA Network, I think.
Oof.
If you don't get
Okay.
this one, I would not be surprised because I just came upon
So is it a
today.
reboot?
It's not a reboot. It's like a documentary about something.
Oh, about
came
something
out
that
then.
happened in the 80s, 90s?
Mostly 90s. Involved really big people, muscular people. Okay. It's Muscles and Mayhem, an unauthorized story of American gladiators.
Whoa.
Do you remember the show American
Yeah,
Gladiators?
I do.
I loved it. That was like a
You're on a
summer
roll with
thing.
this like WWF, now American Gladiators.
Well, that's what I got concerned too. And I got to go back. I might have to watch more Grey Gardens to cancel it out. I don't know. It's just fun. It's just about the American Gladiators, how that show came to be. And that was like such a big part of like, I very much have connection to that as a kid watching that. Yeah. Like
okay,
with my
I didn't
sister
really
during the summer.
Yeah, we didn't watch that. Okay.
It was so cool. Like they had so many cool competitions and they had
Yeah.
like regular people going against the gladiators. And so this story is all about like how they picked the gladiators, how completely unsafe the entire thing was. I mean, just
only imagine.
no safety, anything. So I'm only on the second episode of it, but it's just like a nostalgic kind of fun, like learning about all these people and how they came to be on the show. It's
It's a great title, Muscles and Mayhem.
It is, right? It's really good. So that's what I'm watching in between rewatches of Grey Gardens.
Okay.
What about you?
Let's put Grey Gardens to rest, okay?
I watched the second part. There was a second unaired part, and I watched that. And then there's apparently something else. And I listened to an interview. I don't know. I got really into Big Edie and Little Edie. I don't know. Maybe I should clean my house. Maybe I'm like...
No,
maybe
I don't think we need to go that far. I just think, I don't know.
I know. I almost started it a third time, but I had to stop.
Okay.
I know. I almost watched it last night. That's when I found... no, then I watched Real Housewives of New York or something else to get me on a better path.
Yeah.
That's okay.
I mean, that's a, step cousin away from Grey Gardens.
Honestly, Sonia is Grey Gardens.
Yes, I know. That's what I'm saying. Seriously, that's really funny. Okay. Max, formerly known as HBO Max, New York podcast.
And just like that.
I knew you weren't going to like it, but I have to be truthful.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a lot of criticisms of the show.
Good.
Sarah Jessica Parker is not one.
Dang it.
Sorry. This show is bad, but I can't stop watching it. I'm really enjoying it. It's really easy. It's really fun. The fashion still gets me. I still want to know what purse Carrie's going to carry when she walks out in her ridiculous outfits.
Right.
I love that they're 55 now and that they say it and that they're living lives and they're not Grey Gardening them to death like other TV
Grey
shows
Gardens
will.
is fashion, so I don't even want to hear any of that.
So I'm glad they're giving them full lives and not writing them off as old women we shouldn't care about. But it's like the show came back with an agenda to right every wrong it made in its original iteration, including the lack of diversity. So it's very heavy-handed and lots of tropes. But I appreciate the effort, but it's not good. Well, the new additions and characters are very good.
Yeah.
But I just sometimes I'm like, this is taking itself way too seriously. And it's like, what's cool right now? They literally have someone a young Gen Z intern on that writing room that's here are the hot topics. And they're hitting them all, and it's too much.
Yeah.
That said, I could watch Sarah Jessica Parker do anything. And
you are, because it's terrible.
Yeah. It's not great. It's cringy, but it's also moves quickly and the music's great and it's fun.
Yeah.
It's silly. I mean, Charlotte's life is ridiculous. It's so silly. Anyway, they're giving everyone... Miranda has a kind of interesting storyline, but it also doesn't make sense. She just up and leaves her husband really quickly.
That's what I heard, that Steve is just
and
not
it doesn't
there
make
anymore.
any sense. Leaving him makes sense, but there's no build up. It's she decides and she moves the next day. And leaves the city to go follow the person she's interested in. Che, right,
I know. I'm on the internet.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, I'm enjoying it, but it's bad.
Are you?
I am. I really do. I really do.
Okay.
And the other thing I'm watching is season 2 of The Bear, which I talked about already, so I couldn't bring that up, but it's so good.
Well, then
I said that just for some.
Watch.
Yeah. Have you not started it?
I never watched.
Start it, because then you'll have the first season and the second season's up. It's.
I don't know. I got to see what the Beals are up to. There might be locked in the vault information.
Well, if anyone will find it, it's you.
It's part of American history. It's literally Jackie Kennedy Onassis's family members who went crazy, or kind of lost it. I just still if my life depended on it, wouldn't have been this is what Melissa must be watching. I didn't obsessed with. That's the real problem. Why now? Why now?
This is a job for therapists. I don't think our listeners can crack this one. This is something that you have to pay someone to help figure out. But I'm happy for you.
Don't be.
However you need to get through the day, that's all we're trying to do. But I know now you're probably researching your next story. So can you tell me those clues?
By researching, you mean deciding and being forced into it right now. Yes. Okay. Another thing about that documentary thing, Jared Hess from Napoleon Dynamite directed it. And I thought that was just kind of a fun thing. I saw that
The
today.
Grey Garden? No,
he was
that
not
doesn't
alive
make sense.
then.
Oh,
those were two brothers.
The Muscles and Mayhem.
Yeah,
that
sorry,
makes
I just
a lot
saw
more
my
sense
notes.
timeline-wise.
Okay, here are my 3 clues for next time. I think you'll get it. I think you'll get it. I believe in you. All right, first one is real estate. Second one is gummy bears. Third one is model.
This could be a couple.
Really?
Gummy bears. Are they gummies or just gummy bears?
Gummy bears.
Are we in Beverly Hills? No, I don't know, but I'm gonna get it because I feel like I'm.
I know
getting
you
close in my brain.
And I think the
Who
way I
loves
told
gummy
the
worms?
clues is in the back, and it's kind of backwards from what you would think.
Okay. Model is the last one. Okay. Oh my gosh, we're in New York.
We're in New York.
Not okay. I do know who it is. Okay.
Got it.
Oh, this is really gonna be fun. Okay.
I'm excited. Yep.
Great. Good timing. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Good job. Well, that's exciting. Everybody, thank you for listening. We hope you're excited. And thank you for all our new followers on Instagram and for all the new reviews. That was super great to get. If you enjoy the show, please do feel free to leave us a 5-star rating and review. You can catch Melissa on her other podcast every Tuesday. It's called Moms and Mysteries.
And you can find Rebekah at RebekahSebastian.com, where she's working on a million things, and I can't wait till I can
finally say one of them.
I know.
Promise.
But
We're
now's
getting
the time
there.
to sign up on your newsletter, right? Don't you have a
Yeah,
newsletter?
I do.
See?
I do. It'd be a great time to write one too.
Yeah, there you
It's been
go.
a minute.
No pressure.
Yeah. So follow us at Criminality Show on Instagram, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Bye.